Last week, I had the opportunity to interview Melissa Herkt, a member of Coreworks' board of directors and one of the world's foremost authorities on project management. Melissa started her career as a project engineer for Exxon, and her standout performance quickly saw many promotions from construction engineer on a $30 million project in Denmark to project engineer on a successful $3 billion project in the U.S. to Exxon's first ever woman construction manager on a European project in the early 1990s. After 2 decades in petrochemicals, Melissa became a project director for a pharmaceutical facility that was 2 years behind and only half built. Her reputation was cemented as she put its problems right and helped present a court case recouping millions of delay-triggered losses. Melissa joins me from her home office in Austin, Texas to discuss the challenges Tier 1 suppliers face when it comes to document management and what they can do to overcome these challenges. What are some of the key challenges you've faced in fulfilling your contractual requirements for EPCs?
Well, there's always both internal and external challenges working on major capital projects. And I think one of the things that people struggle with is meeting deadlines, particularly with the huge volume of data that's required. A second thing is conforming to the specifications and managing changes, comments, and alternatives, because again, EPCs review what you send them, they always have comments, and very often they're looking for alternatives to choose from. And now, with what I call super mega projects, these enormous things that have budgets that have billions of dollars in them, there's usually multiple EPCs, and that adds another layer of complexity. In addition to EPCs, Tier 1 suppliers must also understand and meet requirements of the end users, the people who are going to operate the facility eventually. And very often that end user expects the Tier 1 supplier to ensure that standards are followed across all the segments of the projects being done by these multiple EPCs. So getting it right inside the house and then getting it right as you send it to the EPCs and the end users is extremely important.
Okay, thanks. And so what are some of the specific challenges that you've found in documentation?
Well, every EPC has their own work processes and systems that they use, and while they are similar, or let's say they're the same in their intent and their outcome, they are different. And so suppliers have to comply with the requirements of each of the EPCs because they are the customer at the time. And I think everyone involved in these large projects, the EPCs, the suppliers, everyone is looking to minimize multiple entry of data. And you can witness the fact that many of these EPCs, many suppliers, and in fact some end user customers have joined FIATEC, which is an offshoot from the Construction Industry Institute. And they have been sponsoring for the last, 5 years or so, a project around the Enter It Once initiative. And that effort is to minimize the number of times, and hopefully to get it to once, the number of times that data has to be entered into some electronic system. In addition, a number of suppliers, I can think in particular of process control companies, they have multiple business units that are all involved in the project delivered to the EPC. And often, each of these business units have specific systems that they use, they have standards and processes, and the customer, the EPC and the end user, are very interested for their interaction with the Tier 1 suppliers to be seamless, and for that interaction to be consistent, or let's say exactly the same in many cases, on a global basis. And what we find, many companies are international, and I make the distinction between international and global. International for me means you work in lots of different countries, and global to me means that you are the same in all those countries where you work, and that every time a customer touches you, you look and feel and behave in the same way. And through all of that interaction, no matter where, customers are looking for consistency, and also revision control of documents becomes just paramount. If you lose track of who's working on which revision, it can just mean a disaster.
So then, have you seen any companies, organizations that are doing this well?
You know, since I received the questions from you, I've really been thinking about that, and I've been out of the business a little while. I've been retired a little while, a couple of years, but I have to say no. What I will say is that everyone recognizes the need to get better, and essentially all of them are working hard at getting better. But I can't actually call a name of a company or a group that I think really has solved it and beat this issue. Movements over time has happened clearly, and you can see differences among Tier 1 suppliers that are in the same business or that are competitors to each other. But I cannot say that I have witnessed anyone who has solved it.
Is that because this is a new problem, or is it because it's arisen from these super projects?
You know, I've thought about that quite a bit as well, and I don't actually think in most industries, and there may be a few exceptions like pharmaceutical industry, but in most industries, I don't think that the amount of documentation required for an item that is procured has increased or has changed that much over time. There perhaps is some, but not a lot. What I will say is the quantity of items has gone up by exponential factors because of these super mega projects that we talked about. So I think project size and complexity has exacerbated the problem. And again, that project size means that there often are multiple EPCs. And that's caused really by the fact that hardly anyone can or should take on the financial risk of these super mega projects. So I really don't think that it's worse from an item-by-item basis and documents per item, but the number of items is just astronomical these days.
Oh, okay. So then what do you see these companies needing to do to get to that point?
Well, internal work processes that every single employee knows, understands, and uses, again, globally, is what customers expect suppliers to be. They expect them to look, behave, get the same results anywhere the customer touches them. And to be able to do that, there needs to be internal tools and techniques and work processes to deliver a high-quality product on time that meets the specifications and is intended to delight the customer. And finally, they need also work processes, tools, and techniques to interface externally with their customers. And this is a myriad of EPCs and end users, all with systems and requirements that vary to some degree or another.
Okay, so once they have these processes in place, what is the benefit that they're going to see?
For anyone that's involved with Lean or Six Sigma or any of those kinds of things, there's a catchphrase called right the first time. And right the first time has a lot of benefits. It means that you don't waste resources, and resources can be the time of people, it can be all sorts of things, but wasted resources impact profitability. So not wasting resources to do things 2, 3, or more times is a certain benefit. In many contracts today where schedule is extremely important, often there are penalties for late documents or incorrect documents, and these take various forms. But penalties are another opportunity to, again, eat into the profitability of companies who very often have very slim margins depending on what they supply. And I think the third thing is solving it and getting good at it, this right the first time, allows a Tier 1 supplier to become a supplier of choice. And this means repeat business. It means satisfied customers. And very often, satisfied customers become loyal customers. And I think all Tier 1 suppliers are interested to have loyal customers that come and buy from them again and again.
All right, thanks, Melissa. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me, and I look forward to talking to you soon.